Hello, today I'm going to be talking about Kamiak Butte in the Palouse and some of the different features of the butte as well as the surrounding area. To start off, I wanted to show you an aerial view of Kamiak. As you can see, it stands out quite a bit from the rest of the landscape, which is mostly dominated by farmland. One of the interesting and defining aspects of Kamiak Butte is also visible, the stark difference between the north and south side. We'll get into why they differ from each other so much later on. But first let's get into how the Palouse, where Kamiak is located, actually came to be the way it is. The Palouse region was once part of an ocean shoreline roughly 750 million years ago when all the continents were part of the supercontinent Rodinia. It is because of this that we can see geologic structures around the state of Washington that are normally associated with the ocean floor. Kamiak Butte itself has an underlying foundation of quartzite, a type of rock that forms during seafloor spreading. This quartzite base was thrust up through the crust to form the ridgeline we can see today. On top of this is a layer of basalt rock that also covers the rest of eastern Washington. Between 16.7 and 5.5 million years ago, great fissures split the earth. Lava flowed from these fissures and covered 234,000 square kilometers of land in solid basalt. Then between 120,000 and 11,500 years ago, during the most recent glacial period, the region was covered in sheets of ice. Some of these sheets blocked off the Clark Fork River, creating an ice dam that would periodically burst, releasing massive amounts of water from the reservoir that had built up behind it. This water carved out the land as it flooded the state, cutting down the layers of rock, including the basalt of the Palouse. Also during this ice age, the glaciers were covered in layers of dirt and rock from nearby volcanic activity. This dirt was then swept off the glaciers by strong winds and deposited elsewhere. One of the destinations for this sediment was the Palouse, where over time it built up, forming depths of up to 200 meters in some parts. Due to the manner of creation for these soil layers, they are called loess, a German word meaning loose. Moving forward into modern times, we can look at Kamiak Butte and the region around it as it is today. While the Palouse is no longer a coastal region, it is still affected by the Pacific Ocean roughly 400 miles away. The Palouse is a marine modified climate. The air mass that moves over the region originates from the ocean, bringing with it cold, moist air and the weather associated with it. However, much of the moisture from this air mass is lost to the coastline as it rises up over the Cascade Mountain Range, and its ability to hold water decreases. Once the air mass has crossed the mountains and lowers in elevation, its ability to hold water increases again, leaving the region directly on the other side of the mountain range with very little annual precipitation. The Palouse is higher in elevation than those dry regions, so while it does not receive as much precipitation as the coast, it does get more than the rain shadow area of the state, with most of the precipitation occurring during the winter months in the form of snow. This graph depicts the climate for Kamiak Butte. The blue bars designate average precipitation per month. As you can see, the highest values are in November, December, and January. The gray line is the average temperature throughout the year, and the red line shows where 40 degrees Fahrenheit is on the graph. This is important because once the temperature gets below 40 degrees, plants stop growing for the year. The biome in which Kamiak Butte is located is called the Western Interior Woodlands and Shrublands biome. A woodland is defined as having 25 to 60% canopy cover. To compare, a forest would have 60 to 100%. The shrublands in this region have mostly sagebrush as the overstory. Sagebrush are very drought-tolerant plants and do well in this climate. The north aspect of Kamiak is closer to this forest definition, with the trees growing densely, overshadowing the understory vegetation. Because of the orientation, the north aspect tends to be cooler and wetter, which means that the plants that grow there are more shade tolerant. The south aspect has much wider spaced trees and shrubs due to the effect of direct sunlight, which makes it so that only sun-tolerant plants can thrive, as well as decreasing the available water, most of which is lost to evaporation. The majority of trees on the south side are ponderosa pines. These trees grow well in high sun environments and will quickly outcompete any other tree species, but in shaded places like the north side, they are themselves outcompeted by Douglas fir and western larch. Kamiak Butte features a hiking trail that loops around from the north side to the south side and back again, and is open to the public. This trail is fairly popular, so the wildlife that inhabits the butte often has to interact with people, especially in the summer. Around the butte are miles of farmland that acts as a barrier for the wildlife, especially deer and elk, between the butte and other grazing grounds. Recently, there have been more prescribed burns occurring not just in the Palouse but across the state as well to try and prevent large loss of habitat and homes due to the fires that have become more frequent as a cause of increased drought. The habitat of Kamiak Butte is home to many different animals, with the north aspect supporting most of them because of its more densely forested nature. Here the thick understory provides good cover for small animals to hide from predators such as coyotes and birds of prey. The trees are habitat for many bird species including red crossbills, rufous-sided towhees, and northern flickers, as well as owls. The southern aspect has less available resources for the wildlife, but it is still a grazing ground for deer and elk, and the openness of this side makes it easier for birds of prey to hunt small rodents from the sky. Here are some of the birds that can be found on Kamiak Butte and around the Palouse region. Going clockwise, the species are saw-whet owls, red crossbills, rufous-sided towhees, and northern flickers. Finally, these are some of the commonly seen animals that live on and around Kamiak Butte: red squirrels, mule deer, chipmunks, and porcupines. That concludes my presentation on Kamiak Butte. Thanks for watching.